Hey, what is up, lovelies? It is Lynn the Gacha Goblin, and to my surprise, Cyberspace Maz posted a video today about Zayne's hidden motive card and the language of loneliness and scars. I'm very curious, so we're going to watch this and react to it together. And yeah, but before we do that, I kind of wanted to show you guys I created a Discord server for us to hang out in, and everybody's posting their like Luzio stuff and pictures of photo booth things, you know. So yeah, made a Discord server, learned how to make one, made it by myself. So if there's anything wrong with it or you know any shenanigans, sorry. But hey, you can totally come and join. I have left it, the link to join in the description box, so you can definitely click that and join. Yes, anyway, okay, so we're gonna go and jump into Cyberspace's Maz video, and we're going to enjoy some angst. Okay, some angst and some spice. So let me put down the music. All right, and I am going to go and take myself off the screen, and we're gonna go ahead and watch this. Hopefully the volume is a-okay. We're gonna test it out.
The situation back then must have been
Whoa.
extremely dangerous.
Okay, very loud. We're gonna put it down just a smidgen. Just a smidgen.
May I ask what you were thinking about when your life was hanging by a thread?
Weren't you even a little bit scared when death was right before you? Do you truly not think of anything when your life is hanging by a thread? The frontline hospital's facilities are limited.
Okay, first and foremost, I just gotta say, I love this card. This card is one of my favorite cards of Zayne's, not because it's just spicy, but because of the fact, like, the whole story behind the card. If you don't have it yet, I suggest you go watch it on YouTube. It's really sweet. It's this whole fact that, you know, they're fighting basically on the front lines together. She wanted to find out where Zayne was stationed and then followed him, and then they just had a cute moment, and then they had a spicy moment, and then, you know, fun stuff happened.
After returning to Lincoln, stop by my place to get some scar treatment cream. So there won't be a scar.
These quotes are at the heart of Hidden Motive's true meaning. Hidden Motive strips things down to a deeply human level. This memory carefully unravels themes of guilt, control, self-sacrifice, and loneliness using physical injury and emotional repression as metaphors for deeper wounds. Scars become not just remnants of pain, but evolving symbols of connection to life. A repeated question, what were you thinking when you were about to die, gains new meaning with every iteration and always comes back to the same theme of connection to life. And in a powerful intimate role reversal in the story, MC becomes the one holding the razor, showing Zayne that it's safe to let go of control and suppression of emotions in the name of care.
Oh boy.
Here's a quick
Okay.
refresher of what happens in Hidden Motive. MC has been deployed to a dangerous zone located in a village to help stop a Wanderer attack. She has been wounded after saving a child from falling debris. She's in a frontline hospital with chaos all around her as medical teams and hunters rush about to tend to the injured. As she's slowly trying to stay conscious, a reporter approaches and tries to interview her. The reporter asks MC what she was thinking about in her last moments, and MC replies that she wasn't thinking about anything. Suddenly, as she is beginning to fall into unconsciousness, Zayne appears, tells the reporters the interview is over, and takes MC away to—
You know what, that is such a classic reporter move. Like, you see that there is a hunter who is about to pass out from, you know, injury or whatever, and they're like, oh, let me get this question. I actually don't really like reporters. I don't like how reporters are portrayed in the media. I don't know if that is real, like true to life, how reporters are actually, but yeah, I just don't like how like bloodhoundy they are in like TV shows and whatever. So that's just my opinion about it.
tend to her wound. As they talk, MC probes Zayne on why he's there, knowing his name was not on the medical team list. Zayne insists it was a coincidence that he was assigned—
Oh, okay, so I think I got it wrong. I think it was Zayne who followed MC, not the other way around, but that's actually really sweet. It's still very sweet. Either way, it's very adorable.
to the same place as her. Later, the children at the hospital invite MC and Zayne to a farewell ceremony on a nearby hill. While there, Zayne asks MC the same question as the reporter, and she replies that she's scared of the loneliness of the moment and fears no one remembering her. As she tries to tell Zayne that she'd entrust her final words to him, he cuts her off and tells her to stop talking nonsense. MC then asks Zayne to take a photo of her wound. As he does, the lanterns rise to the sky and MC tells Zayne that they look beautiful. He replies that she's beautiful too. Later, MC falls asleep in Zayne's car, and he takes her to his place. She wakes up alone in his bed. She then receives a call from Grayson, who tells her what she already suspected, that Zayne purposefully volunteered to go to the most dangerous zone because he saw MC's name on the hunters list. After this, Zayne is working on his laptop, and MC forces him to stop and starts to shave him as an act of care and to help him relax for just a moment.
Do you really think, though, that he relaxed while she's on top of him, shaving his face that has no hair? I'm just, it's just really funny.
They share a physically intimate moment on Zayne's rocking chair. Later on, MC wakes in his arms and he asks her about the phone call. She tells him that she knows what he did, and they openly speak about their feelings. Zayne asks her the question for a final time about what she might be thinking about when her life is hanging by a thread. MC promises Zayne that she won't leave without saying goodbye to him, nor will she think about anything other than Zayne to keep her going. At the beginning of the memory, the reporter asks MC the question, "What were you thinking when your life was hanging by a thread?" MC, barely conscious and covered in blood, is suddenly thrust into the spotlight. The setting strips MC of privacy. Her pain becomes content. The question is emotional, but the context is transactional. A public demand for vulnerability when she's barely conscious. MC's answer is telling. "I wasn't really thinking about anything." The emptiness of her response reveals just how deeply she has internalized the idea that her possible death leaves no room for reflection. Her injury becomes the moment that strips her defenses. She downplays it. "Me? I don't even have a scratch." Even as the blood on her forehead tells another story. Zayne, called in as a surgeon, wastes no time. He kneels beside her, wipes the blood from her eyelids, and calls her name again and again, not just like a doctor, but like someone who can't bear to see her slip away. For Zayne, emotional panic is always disguised as medical control. In these small, precise gestures, he asserts not just authority, but care. The surgical setup might seem routine for someone like Zayne, but here it becomes something far more intimate with MC. He stitches MC's wound gently, explains every step, and even clicks his tongue in frustration when she brushes him off. It's clear that for Zayne, treating her injury is not just about preventing infection, it's about preventing regret. Having already lost William and having once nearly lost MC as a child due to his evil.
Oh my god.
Zayne works with the desperate focus of someone determined not to fail again. The battlefield might be behind them, but the emotional stakes have only just begun to surface. This exchange in particular is very telling.
What is it? It's a coincidence. The frontline hospital's doctors are assigned as needed. It happens I'm the only one available at the moment. Don't question the hospital's decision.
Yeah, I noticed this
Many who
too.
have passed away on the battlefield lose their lives because their wounds weren't treated in time, which led to infection. This can result in a series of complications such as skin ulcers, tetanus, sepsis, and even septic shock.
His presence at the hospital isn't a coincidence, but calling it one allows him to downplay the vulnerability behind his actions. To admit
It's kind of crazy, because MC, like Zane's MC, because we all know that the MCs are different in each of the different storylines, basically. How MC is different with how she treats each of the love interests, is what I'm trying to say. But particularly with Zayne, she doesn't really care about her life. She doesn't really care about if she gets injured or if her life is at risk or any of that, it's like she has no thought of the repercussions of what her death could mean to other people around her. And maybe that's because she doesn't have, technically she doesn't really have loved ones anymore, right? She's an orphan. Her grandmother is technically gone. At the time of this card, Caleb hadn't come out yet, so Caleb wasn't even, alive anymore. So I feel like, MC just didn't really have any motivation necessarily to like live. She didn't have anything to live for, and her thinking that way kind of hurts Zayne. And I think that's why Zayne was actually really upset with her, because it's like she didn't think of him. She didn't think of like what would happen, or she didn't think that it was gonna be something that Zayne would have to go through. It's almost like she really had no care for her own life or her own effect on other people in this world, which is that's such a common like hero personality trait that you see a lot of times, like that self-sacrificing, um I do it because I want to, make the world a better place, and in doing so I'll sacrifice myself because I have nothing to lose, when in fact they have a lot to lose, but they just don't realize it. So that's something that I noticed in this card as well. And I was a little upset with MC, but I was like, okay, alright, I get it. You're gonna be that kind of character, we get it.
He came because of her would be to expose his lack of control over his emotions. For someone like Zayne, whose life revolves around control, professionalism, and restraint, that's a dangerous truth to let slip. Zayne has likely told himself he came for medical reasons, that he's here to do his job, but MC's simple observation threatens that story. Zayne also leans on the language of bureaucracy. Doctors are assigned as needed. He hides behind protocols and structure because it allows him to stay close to MC without admitting his motive. This is classic Zayne. If he can explain his feelings through logistics, he doesn't have to feel them out loud.
Yeah.
MC pushes back, but she's not confronting him to shame him. She's asking because she already knows the answer, and she wants to see if he'll be brave enough to say it. But when Zayne feels cornered emotionally, Zayne pivots into a clinical explanation. People die from infections. This isn't just a doctor's habit, it's a way to reassert control over a conversation that's starting to expose his real feelings. The sterility of medical jargon becomes his shield. Instead of saying, "I was scared for you," he says, "wounds lead to sepsis." Zayne hides the truth here because he's not ready, or doesn't yet know how to express vulnerability through words.
Which is so interesting because you see kind of like a growth in their romantic relationship through like all of the different cards. And this is just like this came out in Misty Invasion, right? So this was month 7 of the game being out. So Zayne hadn't fully found his own way of being vulnerable with MC yet. So it is really nice to see just like the progression of the story itself. And that's something that I definitely appreciate about like the writing of the characters and the storylines of the characters. Yes, it's locked behind cards, unfortunately, but it's also a really good thing that a lot of these cards are very much available on YouTube. So you can technically experience everything online without actually playing the game, to be honest. So yeah, I mean, Zayne is such a he's such a Capricorn. you know, he's so scared of being vulnerable and just expressing his emotions and expressing that he cares, maybe because of fear of rejection or maybe because of fear of losing somebody, really. So
his love is practical, careful, and often unspoken, but it's no less real. His actions scream what his words won't say. When he tells her to stop by his place for scar cream, the gesture seems clinical, almost offhand, but beneath it lies a deeper truth. Zayne doesn't want her to carry visible reminders of this moment, not because he's vain, but because scars to him are synonymous with failure. It's a small moment easily passed over, but it plants the seed for one of the memory's most powerful symbolic reversals. Where Zayne sees scars as signs of guilt, MC will come to see hers as proof of life. During the scene on the hill, as lanterns are being prepared to...
That's actually a really beautiful way of putting it. Like the whole scars thing. That's really interesting. Wait, guys, can somebody clarify in the comments below? Zayne currently has scars on his arms right now, right? Now, I'm curious, where are those scars coming from? Is it coming from whenever he loses control of his evil, or did something happen? Am I forgetting something? I feel like I am forgetting something. Because if this is related to Mount... Oh god, what's the name of that mountain? Everest? Where he lost his, his friend. Was he trying to save them? And then that's why his arms are all beat up? Or because if he associates scars with failure, is that a symbol of his failure then? Or his failure to control his evil? I'm actually curious. If anybody knows the answer, leave it down in the comments below. Thank you.
That sail in the sky.
Because I would say it was Foreseer, but Foreseer happened way before this. So we can't say it's Foreseer.
Zayne asks MC the question again.
Weren't you even a little bit scared when death was right before you?
It's the second time the question has been asked, but unlike the reporter's earlier spectacle, Zayne's version is intimate and personal. MC's reply is now total honesty. It's less fear and more loneliness. Dying silently and maybe never being found. Such a lonely thing scares me. She is not afraid of death in a conventional sense. She's afraid of dying without being known, remembered, or loved. This is the first moment she openly acknowledges emotional fragility, and it hits Zayne harder than anything else in the memory. She isn't just a fellow survivor, she's someone carrying the weight of invisibility in a world full of noise. As she continues, she begins to suggest that if she had died, she would have wanted Zayne to hear her final words. But Zayne cuts her off coldly. I didn't come here to listen to your nonsense. The line, terse and defensive, hits a raw nerve.
He probably just doesn't want to listen to her last words, that's why.
The implication of death, of her being gone, hits too close to Zayne's deepest fear. His response is not dismissive of her feelings, but of the idea that she might not have made it. It's a deflection, a wall thrown up to avoid confronting the terrifying truth, that he cares too much to even hear her speculate about dying. MC also realizes that speaking casually about her own death to a man who spends his life trying to save lives would hurt him. So MC brushes her hair back and reveals her scar, the mark left from the very wound he treated. She smiles and asks him to take a picture before it fades. What she offers is not complaint or shame, it's proof that she lived and proof that he saved her. A reason to think back fondly on this moment. Zayne, typically so fixated on removing reminders of trauma, is visibly moved by this simple act. At this moment, he looks at her and sees her. When he finally replies,
Indeed. Very beautiful.
It's clear that he's talking about her resilience and the pride she takes in having survived. This moment becomes one of the most emotionally transformative in the entire memory. Zayne, who has long viewed scars as signs of failure, of lives he couldn't save, people he couldn't protect, begins to see MC's scar through her eyes, as a symbol of survival.
Gosh damn it. You know what? I freaking love I love deep dives like this into these kind of moments, because everybody, everyone just talks about how spicy the cards were, how whatever, and I enjoy that. Don't get me wrong. I enjoy the spice that all of these cards have, and the cutesy moments and the heartbreaking moments and all of those. But we never truly understand the symbolism behind everything, and it really takes a very critical mind to understand all of those. And I'm gonna be honest, I'm not really that critical, especially when I'm just, enjoying things on the surface level. That's why having people like Cyberspace Maz in the community is so nice, okay? It's so nice. Like, no joke, it really is super nice to have somebody be able to pick up on these things and understand the symbolism, and to be able to articulate all of those things is a skill that a lot of people may not really have, you know? So I really enjoy watching these and learning, because when I'm playing the game by myself, I understand the feelings, I understand the empathy and the emotions, but I don't know how to put that into words, you know? But Maz has such a good way of explaining everything, and it's just fantastic. It feels like I'm kind of like going through my own emotions and having it explained outwards, and it's wonderful, honestly.
Her comfort in showing it challenges his belief that visible reminders of pain must be erased. And when he agrees to take the photo, he's not just documenting an injury, he's bearing witness to her story, to the fact that she lived, and that he, in some part, helped her live. The next morning, MC wakes up alone in Zayne's bed. It isn't until MC answers Grayson's unexpected call that the emotional tension seeded throughout the memory finally crests into clarity. Grayson says what Zayne himself has not been able to say, that Zayne changed his assignment to be near MC. He volunteered to go into the most dangerous zone.
You know what? This was such a funny moment when I experienced the card for myself. I was like, oh my god, Zane, you sly dog. You just wanted to be the White Knight. I get it, I get it.
Simply because her name was on the list. In that moment, the hidden motive is named outright. Zayne's earlier evasions are recontextualized as a form of emotional self-protection. He couldn't tell her directly, because telling her would mean exposing the fear that had driven him there, the fear of losing her again. This is the Zayne who carries the weight of Mount Eternal.
Mount Eternal, that's what it was called.
Who still remembers the moment he almost killed MC as a child, and who now quietly sacrifices his own safety just to be nearby when she's hurt. His hidden motive was never about professionalism, it was always personal. We've seen this motive before in Zayne's 5-star memory, Snowy Serenity. When Zayne disappears into the Arctic during a raging metaflux storm, it is MC who risks her life to bring him back. That earlier memory parallels hidden motive in striking ways. Both memories begin with one of them unconscious or unreachable, and both center on the other's refusal to let them vanish into isolation. But where hidden motive sees Zayne braving danger to watch over MC, Snowy Serenity was about MC doing the same for him. Her rescue mission wasn't sanctioned, wasn't safe, and wasn't logical. It was driven by love. And Zayne, buried beneath ice and guilt, nearly pushed her away out of fear he might harm her again.
Oh my god, I love that card. That was such... Oh, that was my first multi-banner card, and it was just so amazing. I love that banner. That's probably honestly, it's my favorite banner from the OG3. It was just magical. It was a magical moment for me as a player, and I loved it so much.
Refuses to let go. When her touch calms the ice itself, something shifts in him.
When we were apart these past few days, I was always thinking about you. Whether or not you've been eating properly, taking care of yourself, and if you would be upset if we never saw each other again. You occupied my every thought. If I hadn't been missing you, perhaps I wouldn't have struggled to hold on until you found me. I need you. I have never denied that. It's just...
The PV for this was insane. I flipped the F out.
It's not the kind of need you think it is.
In Hidden Motive, Grayson names the care Zayne tries so hard to obscure.
While Dr. Zayne doesn't say it, he cares a lot about you.
For MC, this
Can anybody still, like, understand that Grayson's, like, 40?
information is everything. Her doubts finally settle. Zayne was speaking a language of devotion in acts of care, rather than declarations. Zayne's silence, then, is not absence, it's restraint. His love manifests not through confession, but through presence, of being nearby so that MC knows he'll always be there. He shows up, he works non-stop, he checks her bandages himself. He can't say, "I was scared," so instead he arranges the battlefield to be by her side. MC, who is just beginning to understand what it means to rest, now sees what care can look like from the other side. Not emotional distance, but emotional discipline, love lived out in vigilance. The call bridges a critical gap. She no longer has to guess how he feels. This knowledge gives her the space and the confidence to begin reciprocating. If Zayne's love is expressed in the quiet art of watching over her, then hers will be expressed in something just as intimate, helping him finally rest. What comes next, the gentle teasing, the joking search for his factory reset button, and the deeply personal act of shaving his face, marks a shift in who is doing the healing. For the first time, MC becomes the one holding the blade, the one in control, and the one offering care. This moment in the memory reveals a certain core truth for Zayne and MC's relationship, that love doesn't always announce itself. Sometimes it's concealed beneath professionalism and routine, but in the right light, it can be seen clearly for what it is. And once seen, it can finally be returned. No longer simply the one in need of care, MC begins to reflect that care back to Zayne. She tiptoes toward him as he works at his laptop, observing the quiet rhythm of his routine, coffee in one hand, work emails lighting up the screen. For a moment, she considers simply hugging him from behind, but instead, a thought bubbles up in her head. Do you ever feel tired, Zayne? She asks him, shouldn't we see where your factory reset button is? What she's doing, gently and deliberately, is pressing into the emotional boundary Zayne has re-established. She's not asking for answers, she's checking, are you still here with me? And his response?
I'm sorry to disappoint you, but I don't have such a thing.
This is a cold, hard truth. There is no reset, no off switch, no place inside him untouched by everything he's carrying. His guilt, his duty, his trauma, and his fear of hurting the people he loves. This isn't a man waiting to be turned back on. This is a man who's been on for so long, he doesn't know what off looks like. If you aren't a robot, how come you don't feel tired? That's not teasing anymore. That's real concern, genuine bewilderment. MC is now saying, how do you keep functioning like this? And then Zayne gives the most revealing line of the entire scene.
The external power source is here. You're looking in the wrong place.
He's saying, you're the reason I can keep going.
Oh, stop. That's so sweet. Oh, what the actual heck? Okay, alright. You know what? It's so... How do I explain this? I have a lot of thoughts going through my head right now, but like the main thing that I want to say is that just like Zayne's love for MC is like that quiet, reassured love. It's not the love bombing, it's not the crazy, acts of affection or anything like that. It's the simplicity of just continuing on and being in each other's company that is such a simple and yet deep kind of devotion to one another, and it's just so beautiful. It's kind of like if you were to see a lake that was super still, but it was incredibly deep, like you wouldn't even know how deep that lake is until you actually dive deeper into it. You would look at the top of it and be like, oh wow, it's so calm, it's so serene, it's so beautiful. And maybe some people would actually be like, oh wow, that's a really boring place to go visit and whatever. But in actuality, there are so many different wonders once you just dive a little bit deeper and like actually get to know the other person. That's why I just appreciate Zayne as a character. It's why I loved him, from the very beginning. Well, when I started playing, I grew attached to Zayne slowly. It's very much a slow burn kind of romance with Zayne. You have to really understand all of his little cues, all of his little, like, things that he's implying through his medical jargon, that just makes him super special. And that's why I just appreciate him as a character. It's really nice. The kind of love that he expresses is definitely very different than the love the other love interests give to MC, and it's very unique, and I appreciate it. Yeah. Okay.
He won't admit to needing rest. He won't admit to exhaustion, but he'll admit this. You are the thing that powers me. Not control, not routine, not fear, you. But here's a twist. MC doesn't accept that answer as enough. He's not willing to tell me anything. So she decides to do a role reversal, role-playing as his doctor instead to show him the same care he extended not only to his
Oh my
patients,
god, that's the card that I need. That medical rescue card, that's the card that I'm waiting for a rerun. That's the one that I want. And I know I could watch it on YouTube. I know I can experience it on YouTube, but I want it for myself. And I'm just waiting for it to rerun. Oh my god.
But to her, she decides to speak his language to get him to not only rest, but open up. MC disappears briefly and returns with a razor, shaving cream, and a towel. She sets the laptop aside and sits behind him. The razor, similar to a surgeon's tool, would normally be held by Zayne, but it's now in her hands. And Zayne, normally so composed and exacting,
Again, here is the whole like symbolism, like the symbolism of the scene. Like this is something that you would analyze in like AP literature, you know what I'm saying? Like high school or something. You would like look at the two different foil scenes and then compare and contrast, and that is exactly what this is. And I always enjoyed that in high school. I was in my AP classes. I enjoyed doing that. And I feel like I've lost the talent for it. Again, this is why I enjoy Maz's videos so much.
closes his eyes and lets her shave him. Zayne is used to leaving scars on his patients when he cuts into them and stitching them back up, but MC here is only grazing the surface. It's still a role reversal, but MC is showing him that even though this could scar him, he needs to let go and trust her the same way his patients trust him to take care of them.
I don't dislike it.
This is Zayne saying he likes letting her take care of him, but still won't outright just say that. As she glides the blade across his skin, MC caresses his lips with her thumb. He sighs and leans into her touch, like someone starved for affection. Her control is gentle, almost ritualistic. He trusts her with the blade, and more importantly, with his vulnerability. This moment is the inverse of the battlefield. There is no danger, no urgent crisis, and yet it's here in the safety of her presence that Zayne begins to fall apart in the best way. His breath hitches and his voice softens. When MC begins to brush shaving cream from his chest, first with fingers, then with bolder caresses, Zayne allows it, barely holding himself together.
Am I asking for trouble by doing this?
He's not really resisting, but naming the fear that letting go of control might unravel him. The rocking chair beneath them begins to move with the rhythm of their contact. Another metaphor, but this time for Zayne's loss of balance and control, but he doesn't stop it. When she kisses him...
Okay, look, I know I said I love symbolism, but the whole rocking of a chair is really, really funny. Look, I would laugh at this if I was in high school, and I will laugh at it right now. It's just such an innuendo. It's just perfect. You know what I'm saying? Like, anyway, sorry.
It's not just about desire, it's about permission. She gives him permission to stop performing, stop fixing, and stop saving. Just this once, he can be the one who is saved by letting go. This shaving scene becomes a culmination of their growing vulnerability towards each other. MC holds the blade, but unlike Zayne's, which slices into flesh to heal, hers never breaks the skin. She skims the surface, tending to him with a gentleness he's never extended to himself. Zayne's blade is about intervention and urgency. Hers is about care. Precision is still present, but it's intimate rather than clinical. And in this act of role reversal, they begin to unlearn the loneliness that comes from always having to be strong. After the intimacy of the previous scene, we move to a different kind of intimacy. Zayne is tenderly playing with MC's hair as she lays on him. Zayne asks about the earlier phone call, knowing that it played a part in what just happened.
That call you received this morning, did someone tell you something?
You know, when I saw that, I was like, ooh, Grayson's in trouble. He ratted out Zayne. It was actually really funny.
The individual you speak of wouldn't happen to also be named Zayne, would he?
MC finally names the emotional repression at the heart of Zayne's actions. This isn't about him not caring, it's about the discomfort he feels in admitting care. MC is giving voice to the unspoken, that his motives, which were so opaque and clinical earlier, coincidences, assignments, were in fact rooted in love. And this is Zayne's first explicit acknowledgement of his feelings. It's the first time he steps into the emotional arena without evasion.
You're not allowed to leave without saying goodbye next time.
Zayne also brings up abandonment, but he couches it in terms of responsibility. His wound isn't that she left, it's that she might have left without him having the chance to say goodbye and express his love for her in what could have been close to her final moments.
Guys, so do you think this is foreshadowing? Cause I'm like thinking like, this is all goodbye and all stuff like that, saying goodbye, and like from everything that happened with Raphael's myth, right? His new myth that just came out, and everybody's saying that MC's gonna die in Xavier's new myth again. Do you think she's just gonna die in everybody's new myth? I saw somebody talking about that, and this is kind of making me worry that in Zayne's new myth too, MC's gonna die also. I'm concerned. I am concerned about the emotional trauma that Love and Deep Depression is going to inflict on its characters and on us as a community. So, there is that.
He wants to know that the last positive feeling she has came from him, that she knows that she was loved and deeply cared for. Zayne kisses MC's scar, and this becomes the emotional crux of Hidden Motive. Zayne, who once saw her scars as a mark of his failure, now kisses it as a mark of her survival and perhaps even of their survival. He no longer turns away from what he couldn't prevent. Instead, he recognizes it. It's a response to MC's earlier claim that it's not a big deal. But now it is, not because it disfigures her, but because it represents what they've both lived through. He doesn't erase the scar or cover it. He honors it the same way she did when she asked for a photo of it.
Do you truly not think of anything when your life is hanging by a thread?
This is the final time this question is asked. This time he needs to know, is there something, anything anchoring her to life? It's the same thing that happened in Snowy Serenity, where Zayne admitted thinking about MC was what kept him going. There's some hopefulness underneath the question, am I your anchor to life? Could I be the reason you keep holding on in your final moments? This is why he cut her off earlier when he asked previously. She spoke about final words, rather than a reason to keep living and holding on. And MC realizes this. She knows that Zayne's question isn't really about the moment before death. It's become a proxy for something deeper, more vulnerable, and harder to admit. She recognizes that Zayne is not asking for information, he's reaching out. He's trying in the only way he knows how, to ask if he's significant to her. To ask if he could be the reason she tries desperately in her final moments to cling to life, just as he told her in Snowy Serenity. At the hospital at the start of the memory, Zayne and MC had this exchange, which MC didn't understand at the time.
They must be alive.
But now she finally realizes what Zayne is asking of her, and so her response cuts straight to the core of what Zayne is really asking. I figured out what I can be thinking about. I should think about how to live my life to the fullest. I cup Zayne's cheek and look into the eyes that only reflect my gaze. Because in this world, there's someone who'll like me as long as I'm alive. In the end, healing doesn't mean erasing the wound. It means letting someone close enough to see it, touch it, and love it. Love here doesn't save them from getting hurt. It just means they won't face the next scar alone, whether it's on the skin
beautiful.
or somewhere harder to reach.
Oh man. That is actually really sweet. That is actually really, really sweet. Oh, and we're done? Oh man. That was adorable. Man, I like it. I enjoy these kind of videos. if you haven't subscribed already, go and check out Cyberspace Maz's videos. She does like video essays on Love and Deep Space, obviously, and I would love to have some sort of collaboration with her in the future. So we'll see. Anyway, that is pretty much it. That's pretty much it. Zayne is such a soft boy. You know what I'm saying? Like, I love his soft side, and we get to see his soft side so often that we forget that he's like a fighter, that he is like a combat doctor, and that is like just one of my favorite things about him too. So, yeah. Anyway, leave your thoughts down below into the comments and go over to Cyberspace Maz's video and show some love on that video as well. And yeah, well, that's pretty much it. Thank you all so much for watching. I am Lynn, the Gacha Goblin, and I will see you lovelies in the next video, guys. Alrighty, bye-bye now.